Thanks everyone for joining us. We are gonna start with our first presenter, Hannah Belich from Reading Partners. Hannah joined the Reading Partners team in 2019 as a volunteer coordinator. Her passion for education and civic engagement made Reading Partners a perfect fit for her. In her current role as community engagement manager, she uses her years of recruiting experience and knowledge of the Colorado education landscape to attract diverse and motivated tutors. She holds a bachelor's degree in business hospitality from Colorado Mesa University and is a proud Denver native. When she's not recruiting new volunteers for the program, you can find her hiking, reading, and exploring new places. So Hannah, thank you so much for joining us today. I will go ahead and pass it off to you.
Yeah, like Tessa said, my name is Hannah Belich. I was really honored to be able to serve a year of service through AmeriCorps with Reading Partners and loved it so much that they couldn't keep me away. So when the opportunity for the community engagement manager position opened up, I was all about it. So really excited to share with you guys today what Reading Partners is about, why our mission is important, and how it really does align so closely with the work that you're doing with the Aurora Health Alliance. Okay, to start off, I'm actually going to show you guys a quick video inside a reading center. Hopefully this audio works just fine.
Reading Partners is hands-on change. It's in the communities. It's real people, real times, real curriculums. I'm Ersan John, and I'm a site coordinator here at Reading Partners. AmeriCorps allows service members like myself to do a lot of great hands-on work in communities like this. We want our tutors to feel welcome at our reading center, just like we want our students to be excited about their tutoring sessions. One of the best part about Reading Partners is how easy it is for our volunteers to have a direct impact with our students. We try to make our tutoring process easy for our students as well as our tutors. A typical tutoring session consists of three main components. The first component is the tutor read aloud. This is where the tutor can pick a book and model what a good reader is. The second component is the lesson. The lesson is pre-scripted and is easy to read. This is also the section where the students have the opportunity to revisit vocabulary, learn new words, and practice reading on their own. The third and final component would be take reading home. This is my personal favorite because it gives students opportunities to bring books and begin their own libraries. As a site coordinator, one of my responsibilities is assessing students 3 times a year in order to ensure the optimal grade placement, to track the students' progress, and to challenge every student to accomplish their reading goals. One of our goals is definitely to instill a love of learning and reading.
Oh my gosh, that was so amazing.
Statistics show that students who cannot read proficiently by the 4th grade are 4 times more likely to leave high school without a diploma. For many students, Reading Partners is an in-school intervention that gets results. It provides them with invaluable one-on-one support from a caring tutor and helps them find their confidence in reading. The more confidence students have, the more comfortable they feel in the space, and the better they become at reading. Reading Partners is truly fueled by the communities in which we serve. From volunteer tutors, to staff, to board members, to school and community organizers and donors, supporting tens of thousands of students across the U.S. is made possible by the champions who believe literacy and opportunity should be made accessible to all elementary school students. At the end of last year, 90% of our youngest students mastered key foundational skills needed to read at grade level. Reading is not just school, reading is life. Reading is essential. Reading is a key to open any door. So if we teach kids to value literacy and value reading, we put them one step ahead. We empower them to be successful.
That quick video. I love showing that video specifically because not only do you have the opportunity to get a little glimpse inside the reading center, but I think that Ersan, the program coordinator, talks about a couple of really important things. First of all, the statistics about grade level literacy, and if students are not reading at their grade level literacy, benchmark by fourth grade, it really is a factor that a predicting factor in future success, not only leaving high school with that diploma like he talked about, but it is an indicator of if students will continue on and graduate from a higher education institute. It's directly linked with levels of poverty and different crime ratings as well, and incarceration rates. So reading and education, as many of us know, is really, really influential to so much more than in the classroom. It's with life, and it's with empowering to be able to guide your own future. That kind of leads to the second thing I think is really important about that video. I think a lot of times when we think of a program like Reading Partners or tutoring, we think really narrowly about school, only school. But if we really consider how many things in our life are fueled by the opportunity and the ability to read, that is in every single one of our jobs. Reading emails, right? Joining different committees and passion projects to be able to come in. For me, it's making recipes off of my phone or from a cookbook, or getting to a new place. I'm pretty dependent on my Google Maps, but in a lot of cases, if I can't read directions or street signs, right, that's pretty debilitating and scary. So if we really think about it, reading is so much more than the classroom. It is the opportunity, like I said, to be really empowered and guide your future. So hang on to that as we continue on. Let's jump in a little bit about Reading Partners more specifically. So you can see on the left-hand side that our mission is to help children become lifelong readers by empowering community members like you to provide individualized instruction with measurable results. You kind of saw what that individualized instruction looks like, and you heard about some of our successes, 90% of our students reading their end of year goals that we set for them. So we'll talk a little bit more about that proven success, but let's break down what that whole mission entails. So we partner with students and families. Students are absolutely a part of our curriculum, and we want them to have choice and autonomy in their lessons. So we do partner with our students. They're very involved in their kind of curriculum mapping. Obviously, we partner with schools. We are in 12 school locations this year, and we partner very closely with the school communities to ensure that our students are getting the support we need. Our tutors are finding their way around the school appropriately, and that our teachers and our AmeriCorps members are working really close hand in hand to make sure that we are best supporting our students. As I mentioned, the most of our staff members or our program is fueled by AmeriCorps members. So each one of our schools has a full-time AmeriCorps member that goes in, and they basically facilitate their entire tutor experience and classroom experience. And without our community members, Reading Partners is really 20 people, our full staff, trying really, really hard to get kiddos to grade level literacy. But 20 people, while it would be a valiant effort, is really not going to make the same difference as when hundreds of our community members sign on for an hour a week. So really our tutors and our volunteers are the backbone of our program. The basics about our program, just to kind of get a baseline about what we're talking about. We always pair our tutors and our students at the same, so you're working with the same student every single week. So you don't switch every week students, you get to build that rapport, build that relationship, and really get to see them grow week over week. The great part too is it is really easy to fit into your schedule. We schedule you at the same day and time and location each week. So for me, it's really easy to build into my schedule. I go on my lunch hour every single week and tutor Emilio and then tutor Marissa, and I just know it's packed in my schedule. And then our typical tutoring times, it would vary a little bit between what school you plan to go to, but we tutor essentially Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So again, totally accessible for working professionals, retirees, students, the whole gamut. A little bit more about our program model. As I mentioned, we're in 12 different schools, so we host our tutoring sessions right in the school. You go to the front doors, you say you're with Reading Partners, you say hello to the office staff, and then come right into the reading center located in the school. One really special perk about Reading Partners that I want to mention is it's not just tutoring, again, academically. You are getting to be involved in mentorship with a kindergarten through fourth grader. That is a really critical age in that not just their academic learning, but that they are growing as a human. They are figuring out life and figuring out how to interact with others. And so you get a mentor and kind of model that too. You become a really trusted adult that they look forward to seeing every week. At each one of our 12 schools, we hope to enroll 40 to 60 students per site. Again, that really is dependent on how many volunteers we had. We stopped enrolling students in April And when we were finished enrolling students, we still had 250 students on our wait list. So 250 students that we knew were qualified and needed reading partners. We just did not have the tutors for them. So we were really, really hoping, like I said, to continue to build our tutor base and our volunteer community so that we have our students and they are, able to jump in at reading partners next year when we know that they need it. Our students come in for 2 45-minute sessions each week, but we only ask our volunteers to commit to 1 hour per week, 1 hour. And that is from the moment you walk into the door, you prepare for your lesson, you do your lesson, and you kind of close up and out. You are in and out in 1 hour. And it's important to know that our curriculum is aligned to state standards. So not only what you're going to be doing is fun, but it really is impactful. So we hope that students will come in and we can get them to grade level literacy. And because of the way we tutored our students and because the way our program model is set up, that intervention system really directly correlates to what they're already doing in the classroom. So we are teaching the way that our educators are already teaching in hopes that students have the smoothest transition when they are grade level. At grade level. Okay, the very best part of our program, the students. So like I mentioned, we tutor our kindergarten through 4th grade students. We all know that the pandemic had really, really large disruptions in our education landscape and in our tutor experiences. So every once in a while, we might have a 5th grader that we can support, but in general, we cater to our kindergarten through 4th grade students. All of our students are going to be behind in their grade level literacy skills, or else they wouldn't need reading partners, right? But they are going to be anywhere from 6 months to 2 years behind in grade level literacy. Beyond 2 years, they might be better suited with a professional interventionist. But our program can basically help students that are from 6 months to 2 years behind. We serve in Title I schools, if that is a new term for you, to be considered a Title I school. 45% of the school population, the students, are eligible for free and reduced lunch. So 45 is kind of the minimum percent of population. We serve in schools that are much higher than that 45% benchmark. So in the schools that we serve, our students, 85 to 92% of them are eligible for free and reduced lunch. So more of those under-resourced communities, and we're excited to be able to help those communities and those students that do need that extra boost, and it's free for our students. So that's a great part too, that none of that cost falls on the students or their parents. And just like our tutors, our students are coming from diverse backgrounds and experiences. It is such a wonderful opportunity to be able to learn something new about your student. Maybe if they have a different, culture, upbringing, or viewpoint than you get to learn so much more than just reading and writing skills. And I think that that's wonderful. Not only are you learning from your student, but they learn so much from you. You heard me mention Emilio and Marissa. Those are the 2 students that I've tutored for a couple of years now. And I think from them, I have learned more about grit, more about, being graceful in mistakes and recovery and just tenacity from them that I have learned from any of my adult coworkers. They are fascinating and it is truly the best part of my week. Okay, so our volunteers and our partners, as I mentioned, it is absolutely critical that we have community members sign on, or else it is 22 of us tutoring every day, 8 hours a day, which isn't going to make the same impact. Last year, the pandemic, it changed how we served for the year, but it did not shut us down. We were really excited to still be able to have 350 volunteers, and they tutored over 5,000 hours last year. This year, we were hoping to get to 772 volunteers serve our students. And as I mentioned, we didn't quite get there. We had those students that were still on the wait list that needed tutors. So we are really hoping next year that we will be able to serve more students. This year, by the end of the school year, we will have served over 450 students, which is pretty exciting. So we are back from the pandemic. It had the opportunity for some creative problem solving, but we are really excited to be back in person and working with our students. We partner with all kinds of kinds. So universities, corporations, different community organization and groups. There's really not anyone that can't work with reading partners, so to speak, broadly. So we're really, really excited to continue to get to know our community and expand where our students are getting influence from. Reading partners truly is an opportunity for, we should have really put almost all. There are not a lot of requirements for being a reading partners tutor. We have to be 14 years or older to be able to serve at Reading Partners. This year, our age ranged from 14 to 85. This top picture that's kind of has the orange outline is one of my favorite pictures we have all year. This is Aiden. Aiden is on the right, and Aiden was a Reading Partner student 4 years ago. Aiden is now a big, strong, capable 8th grader, and Reading Partners made such an impact on him when he was in the program that he's now old enough, he came back to tutor, which is really cool. So he came back and is now working with Cecilia down here, and they are now Reading Partners pair. And he said that it's such a cool thing to be able to, like, he remembered his tutor and how they came in for them and how they showed up for him. And now he is in that mentorship role. So, you know, if you have children, friends, family, coworker. It doesn't just have to be in your professional setting. Invite your friends and invite your family to get in on this opportunity. It is really one in a lifetime experience. Our tutors, beyond being 14 years or older, all of our tutors pass a background check for the safety of our students, our staff, our volunteers, our school partners. So once they clear a background check, we also have to be considered fully vaccinated according to CDC guidelines. And Reading Partners, like I said, is super, super fun. So please mention your this opportunity to your friends and family. And I'm going to speak more with Tessa about potentially doing a group tutoring where you folks can come in and try it out before you know, you have to sign on or anything like that. So it might be a great opportunity, kind of a try before you buy, if you're interested in that. Urshan in the video talked a little bit about the lesson components, and to be totally honest with you, we're not going to spend a lot of time here because I know that we could talk about this forever, but I really do want to drive home how convenient this opportunity is. Within your 60 minutes that we ask of you a week, 5 to 10 of that is preparing. So we don't do 1 hour lesson and clean up for 30 minutes and prepare for 30. You are in and out of the building in 1 hour. So 5 to 10 minutes is preparing. That 45 minutes is broken down into the 3 lesson components that Urshan talked about. You read, you teach a lesson, the student gets to read and kind of show you what they learned. And then the following 5 to 10 minutes, you're kind of wrapping up your session, connecting with the program coordinator to see how the lesson went, writing down a couple of notes, things of that nature. So you are in and out of the door in 60 minutes. We're not going to spend a whole ton of time on our different curriculum levels. Essentially, this emerging readers, all of our levels connect with the grade level that your student is reading at. So when I first met Emilio, he was a 2nd grader, but he was reading at a kindergarten level curriculum. So this is not necessarily the age of your student, but the curriculum level that they're currently reading at. So emerging reader corresponds to our kindergarten level curriculum. Beginning reader corresponds to our 1st grade level curriculum. Advancing 2 is 2nd grade. Advancing 3 is 3rd grade. Advancing 4 is 4th grade. And throughout all of those lessons, we sprinkle in what we call SEL lessons, social emotional learning. Like I mentioned, your students are not only navigating this educational landscape and their academics, they're navigating life, how to be gritty, how to make friends, how to have empathy. So we kind of sprinkle in some of those social emotional learning to check in about some of those topics. The part I really want to focus on is on the right-hand side. So this is a picture that I took right from our lesson, the lesson I was working on that day. And the reason I show you this is to show just how easy Reading Partners is. When I first heard about Reading Partners before I ever worked here, I was very intimidated by the fact that I don't have younger siblings. I didn't babysit through high school or college. I didn't really have a whole lot of experience working with kiddos on any level. I thought they were neat. I was really passionate about education and reading, but I just wasn't sure if I was qualified or the right person to tutor another. There is no experience needed to be successful. So this program is set up for the Hannahs of the world that have not a clue what they're doing, but just have good intention to make an impact on a kiddo. So you can see, hopefully your screen is big and clear enough to see that there's different kind of fonts on here. So at the very top, you can see blue italicized text that says, today we are going to learn the sounds for letters PH. Point under the letters. The sound for PH is as in phone. Say, that is literally a script. So you are welcome to read right off the page. And many of our tutors do feel like they need to read off the page for their first couple lessons. This isn't meant to be rigid and put in a box by any means. This is just meant for the Hannahs like me that need a little extra help and would like to read off the page to get comfortable. You can see further on the right, it says tutor writes on the whiteboard. student writes on the whiteboard. So we really do give you every single resource to make sure that you are comfortable, you're set up for success, that you're feeling confident. And you always have that program coordinator, your go-to person that's in the center with you at all times. So if there's ever a part you get stuck or a question that your student asks that maybe you don't feel like you can answer, you always have a resource there. So reading partners, if you take one thing away from today, that it's highly impactful, you do not need any experience to be successful. Okay, proven success. As I mentioned, we are an evidence-based program and we do get results. So we have 3 third-party basically auditing agencies, MDRC, APA, and Child's Trends, that they come in and audit our results every single year. So they come in and make sure that not only what we're doing, like I said, is really fun and really engaging, but that it is making a difference for our students. You heard Rashawn say that 90% of our students met their grade level literacy goals, which is fantastic. We have more statistics on that if you're interested. The other part, in my realm that I'm really passionate about is our volunteers. So yeah, our students are having fun, but are our volunteers having a good time? Is this meaningful work to them? 91% year over year respond to our surveys, replying that their time with their volunteer experience was impactful and was satisfying. So our volunteers are really engaged and enjoying their work as well. Okay, so reading partners, this is where we are serving this year. This is subject to change just a little bit, maybe next year, but you can kind of see where we're located. We're up in the Westminster Public School District, in our Jefferson County District, Aurora Public Schools, which is likely where might be most appealing to you. And then we also are in kind of Denver and South Denver. So depending on where you are at for home or for work or anything like that, we cover a pretty good spread of our region to be able to serve at. So hopefully there's somewhere in here that makes sense for you. Okay, I hope that some of you have already filled out that response sheet for me to send you a bit more information. I'll send you likely our website if you're interested in learning more and an opportunity to volunteer to sign up. But here are the next steps to becoming a reading partner. Sign up takes 5 minutes on our website. You essentially give us some basic information, your name, your email. We ask you what school you want to potentially volunteer at next year, and then you sign up for an orientation. So a 90-minute orientation where we walk you through a little bit more background about our students, our program, our curriculum, kind of give you some good helpful tricks to make sure that you're feeling prepared and ready. After you complete your orientation, we will send you the information to complete that background check we talked about, and then those district requirements that might be different for each district. That takes about an hour to finish those next steps. And once you're there, when the time school starts next year, we'll help you schedule your first session. So we don't just assign you a day or a time or a student. We, work with your schedule, see what time works for you around other obligations, maybe family requirements, your work schedule, personal personal obligations that you have, to find a time that really works for you. So this is obtainable. It's easy to do with work and with other things. Beyond that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and see if we have any questions. I see a couple of questions in here. Meredith asked, how do students get referred to the program and how does the school qualify for the program? Yeah, Meredith, thanks for that question. So students are referred by their teachers and school leaders. So they will maybe through their standardized testing, through homework or test or contact with the teacher will refer them to reading partners and say, hey, I think this student might qualify. Our school communities are really versed in reading partners in our curriculum and kind of what it takes to be referred. So they have a good baseline idea. But when students are referred, we will then run them through testing and basically see how far are you behind. If a student, like I said, is 2 weeks behind, not going to be a great fit for reading partners. But based on their initial testing, we can identify really closely where they're at from 6 months to 2.5 years behind. And school partners, to qualify for the program, a lot of that is a conversation. So they can reach out to our executive director. I can help steward those conversations to see, again, are they Title I? What's the need in the community? And then there also is a fee for service for schools to be involved with reading partners to make sure that we have classroom space, help us pay for materials. So that's kind of a fluid conversation and discussion. But if you have a school in mind, would be happy to have you take down my information. We can connect. Hope that answered your question.
I have a question, kind of a follow-up on that. So if a school does not work with you, but a student is behind, could a teacher still refer them to you, or you're only working with schools that you are like based in the school? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. So if I'm understanding your question correctly, if a school doesn't work with reading partners, but an individual student might need help, can they still participate in the program?
Mhm.
Unfortunately not, because we have our curriculum is like patented. We can't, it's information that we can't distribute to like individual families. One thing that we're piloting this year that we're really excited about is the opportunity to work with caregivers. So right now this is starting with reading partners, parent or guardian. So if maybe they need some extra help, how can parents do this at home with them? I could see that being something that we can take off into like an individualized result for parents or families outside of reading partners later. We're not quite there yet, but we hope to be able to distribute that because we know there are so many students that maybe aren't in our 12 designated schools that could really benefit from our curriculum and that support. So Tessa, to answer your question, I hope later, but we're not quite there yet.
Thank you. And I do have one more question. Do you track on your students in the program long term to see like how many of them graduate high school, things like that?
Great question. So a lot of our students, we have tried to do that. And the ones that we keep in contact, like I said, the Aidens of the world that come back, we kind of know what they're doing. A lot of our students, they do just like any other students, go to different schools, move out of state. And because they are minors, it's really hard to track their information too, based on like what their parents receive. So we have an idea based on our school communities, what we can get from our school communities about where are students going, how many graduation rate, how many of those do we think percentage or estimation were involved in reading partners. But because of their minors and just they move around with their families a decent amount, it is hard to keep a really close track on that.
Hannah, you may have addressed this in your presentation. I just missed it. Is your program offered in any other language?
Fantastic question. So we are working to get our program adapted into Braille and Spanish currently. But right now, our national movement, we're not quite there to have the entire curriculum there. So our curriculum right now is only in English, but we are really working hard to move. A bit of different context on that. We have, especially in our Aurora schools, where you guys are close to, in one of our schools, we have 37 different languages spoken in our school. So we know that there's quite a need, but it's just sort of prioritizing, okay, well, how many of those students do speak Swahili? How many of those students do speak Mandarin? And getting that kind of accessible. We also partner with two of our like refugee schools. They're called newcomer schools. And in those schools, they're speaking 78 different languages. So we have a lot of work to do. I'm not sure all of those different languages will be covered. But right now we're working to kind of prioritize specifically Spanish. And then surprisingly, there's a lot of need for Braille as well, which I wouldn't have guessed. It looks like Mary in the chat, are there any programs for parents or caregivers who can't read English so they can learn to read to their child? Yeah, Mary, again, absolutely a need for that. We have some of our materials to be able to have children participate that are in Spanish to help, let's say, convey the requirements or convey, hey, this is what reading partners is. Are you okay with your child being a participant? But we have not quite gotten yet to where caregivers who speak solely a different language to be able to learn with their child. Again, I know that that's a need nationwide for that, but we are not there yet.
Hannah, I think Mary's question was more about a parent who themselves cannot read. And so they are also interested in learning to read with their child.
Oh, so they are the ones learning to read. No, we don't. We only cater specifically to those kindergarten through fourth grade level curriculums. Some of those parents who are potentially learning a second language or learning English might be in that where they need. But we do know of some different adult education programs like this that are more geared towards parents and caregivers. I can look up some of those names and pass along if we need, but we only cater to kind of that youth range. Thanks for clarifying that, Julia. Awesome. Well, if there are no more questions, thank you so much for your time and your consideration. It's wonderful the work that you are doing, and really appreciate your potential interest in volunteering with Reading Partners.
So now we're going to hear from our second presenter, Abiud Rivera. He joined the Aurora Science and Tech Middle School team in 2021 as Community Engagement Manager. And so for those of you who are unfamiliar, that's actually located right next to the Anschutz Medical Campus. So we've got a pretty good partnership with them. But Abiud, I'll go ahead and pass it on to you. We're excited to hear about what you have been up to in your role.
Yes, so I am the Community Engagement Manager at Aurora Science and Tech Middle School, soon to be Aurora Science and Tech Middle and High School. Next year, we will start 9th, and every year we will add another grade up until 12th. But from my understanding, we are the newest choice in this area as far as middle school and high school. But just so you know a little bit about the school. So this is our 3rd year, very first year that we actually have students at in our building. It's been interesting. It's been a challenge. It's definitely been a very interesting year. But let me talk a little bit about the kind of work that I do. So I am a community engagement manager. Basically, what that means is I worked for a very long time as a family engagement community liaison, and sure enough, there's a lot of that kind of work that goes on. But there's 4 work streams that I'm in charge of. The very I would have to say, if I had to break it up into percentage, 60% of my job is recruiting, filling the seats. Whenever we have incoming kiddos, the biggest class is always going to be 6th grade. And that's because it's brand new kiddos to the school. Our 8th graders are usually, of course, going to transition to 9th. But my responsibility is to get kiddos in our school, fill those seats up. And I apologize for the background noise. It's my little kiddo. But either way, yeah, I get the pleasure of working with feeder schools in the community. I work a lot with Rocky Mountain Prep Fletcher, Paris Elementary, Altura, a lot of schools that are in the surrounding area within a 2-mile radius. One of the things that I absolutely love from my job is establishing those connections with the school and fostering a good relationship that in the end is going to be mutually beneficial for both schools. So yeah, recruitment is about 60% of the work that I do. I want to say about 20 to 30% is just about like 15% is family engagement. So I get to put on like great events, cultural events at the school. That the end purpose of that is to build community. So whenever you're coming into a brand new school, especially one like ours, it's really hard to feel connected. And part of my job is to create events that help parents feel or families feel that community feel. So about another 15% of my job is community connections, making those community connections, such as this wonderful connection that we have with Anschutz Medical Campus and beautiful pipeline that we're creating throughout the year. So I get to work with great organizations like yourself and people that are just doing amazing things in the community. I love to highlight those and provide those resources for our families. And the last piece is civic engagement. So I get to work a little bit, like I want to say like 10% with the APS board. Just this last year, I got a group of parents, a group from Anschutz Medical Campus. There was some gap funding that we were trying to accelerate or or try to speed up the process so that we can get our second building started. And I believe groundbreaking is going to start this summer. But our families and aunts were able to go to bat for us and tell the APS board and present before them, like letting them know why we need the second building, why Aurora Science and Tech is such an amazing organization within this community. So kudos to all the Anschutz people that were able to go to bat for us and have been going to bat for us for a while now. But yeah, civic engagement is the last of those 4 work streams that I'm kind of overseeing at Aurora Science and Tech. My position is a very new position to the DSST schools. At some point, they were different positions, and they just brought them all together and created the community engagement manager role. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what I do for Aurora Science and Tech. And it's really been a pleasure this year, and I'm glad to be coming back next year.
Thank you for that overview. I am curious, there's a good amount of organizations represented here on this call. Is there anything that you can think of that we could do to support AST, or are there specific partnerships that would be useful for you and the families you're working with?
So we are, I mean, throughout the year, my goal for this role is going to be a little bit different next year. Next year, we're really going to dive deep into providing workshops and just additional opportunities for our families to continue learning. Where my approach, almost anywhere that I go, I try, whenever addressing families, I try to do it holistically. We understand that kiddos come to school to learn, and of course we're going to give them a top-notch education, but we don't want it to just stay there. We want it we want to, in essence, to treat the family holistically and provide resources for them throughout the year. So we're going to start doing what I call a parent academy. We're going to start bringing resources to families, whether it's medical, whether it's legal. We'd love to get a health fair going on. We'd love to just provide every single event that we have. We would love for the community to be present, and it doesn't matter what field you're in. Our families, there's such a wide range of needs that our families have, that any event that we're going to have, whether it's the Hispanic Heritage Month event that we'll have, whether it's a Black History celebration that we'll have, we just want the community to be present, and we want it to feel like the community is in our building. So I'll be communicating out every time that we have an event with Tessa, letting her know maybe what organizations would be interested in just attending, putting a table, getting information. Like, we'd love to get you guys in front of the right eyes, if that makes any sense, the right audience, so that at the end of the day, our family, the needs that they have and the resources that are in the community that they don't know about are coming to them. So yeah, I'll be communicating with Tessa all the events that we have for the following school year, and I'd love for you guys, every single one of you that would be possibly interested, to attend those events that we have.
Any other questions from anyone else? Well, thank you, Abiud and Hannah, so much for presenting. I will definitely be happy to share about, any opportunities either of you want to send my way. I can make sure that it gets out to this group. And yeah, we look forward for 2 ways to partner with both of you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
So I just want to thank everybody for coming to this month's Aurora Health Alliance Social Determinants of Health Interest Group meeting, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you.